Hello dear students. In the last class we discussed that covalent bond formation and their factors along with formal charge we completed, and the today's session we are going to discuss that ionic bond formation. Ionic bond formation and their factors, at the same time lattice energy, hydration energy and the solubilities will be going to discuss. So today's session is a ionic bond and their formation, at the same time lattice energy and hydration energy. So now the topic is ionic bond formation. So what is ionic bond and how this ionic bond is forming will be discussed in the today's session. So come to the topic, what is ionic bond? So generally ionic bond is a chemical bond, because in the last class we discussed that chemical bond is three types. One is ionic bond, one is covalent bond, other one is coordinate covalent bond. So ionic bond is a one type of the chemical bond which takes place between the oppositely charged ions. So the bond which is formed between the two oppositely charged ions we call as a simply ionic bond. Otherwise, the force of attraction which is developed between the two oppositely charged ions also we call as a ionic bond. So for example, I am taking A is a atom, and this atom by losing one electron is converted to A plus. And the next one is B is an atom. It is by gaining one electron converted to B minus. Now one is A plus, other one is B minus. So we can say one is cation, one is anion. The species which is having the positive charge on that, we call this is cations. The species which is having negative charge on that, we call these are anions. So now by losing the electron from an atom, by gaining the electron by an atom, two type of ions is forming. One is cation, other one is anion. So in this cation and anion, A is the cation, B is the anion. Always in the nature between the oppositely charged particles, attractions is developed. So due to that fact, A is a positive, B is a negative, two oppositely charged ions. Between the two oppositely charged ions, electrostatic force of attractions are developed. That force of attraction what we call electrostatic force of attraction. So due to this electrostatic force of attraction, the two ions are come close to each other and form a stable molecule is forming. And whatever the force of attractions are operating to come the two oppositely charged ions and form a stable molecule is called ionic bond. So what is the definition of the ionic bond? The bond formed between the two oppositely charged ions. Otherwise, the force of attraction which is developed between the two oppositely charged ions and form a stable molecule is called as a ionic bond. And whatever the molecule is forming here, this compound we call as a simply ionic compound. What compound we call? These are ionic compounds. So this is about the formation of the ionic bond. Then we discussed in the last class, according to Koszalin-Lewis theory, some atoms are to get the stability, either it is losing electron, either it is gaining electron. So due to the same fact, here A is an atom. To get the stable configuration, it is losing one electron. B is an atom. To get the stable configuration, it is gaining one electron. At that time, is converting into cation and anion. Then what type of elements in the periodic table is losing electron or gaining electron and participating in the ionic bond formation? Mean totally we have the 18 groups in the periodic table. Totally we have 18 groups in the periodic table. When you are writing with Roman numbers, generally 8 groups we are writing. Generally we are writing 8 groups, S and P block of groups. Now in this 1 to 8 group, first group of elements we can say 1A alkali metal, and the second A group of elements and alkaline earth metal, and third group of elements. First A group of elements, second group of elements and third group of elements to fifth group of elements and sixth group of element and seventh group of element. Between these two, ionic bond is takes place. Mean first group of elements, second group of element, third group of elements are behaving like a generally metals, and metals are loses electron and converting into cations. Fifth group of element, sixth group of element, seventh group of element belongs to P block, and it is non-metals, and non-metals are gaining the electrons and is converting into anions. So now first group of element, second group of element, third group of element by losing electrons converting into cations. fifth group, sixth group, seventh group of element by gaining electron converting into anions. Now we discussed that for formation of the ionic bond, compulsory one cation and one anion is compulsory. So cations, from where it is coming, first, second, third group of elements in the periodic table, and the non-metals or anions is coming from the fifth, sixth, seventh group of elements in the periodic table. It means a ionic bond takes place here, first, second, third group of elements to fifth, sixth, seventh group of elements. Then why these group of elements only losing and these group of elements are gaining mean to get the stable configuration. So let us see how these elements are get the stable configuration by losing electrons and by gaining electron. So let us take one example. I am taking the sodium chloride. Formation of sodium chloride I am taking here. So sodium chloride, formation of the sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is an ionic compound. So we are discussing formation of sodium chloride. We are discussing what? Formation of the sodium chloride. So let us see here, sodium is belongs to first group and chlorine is belongs to seventh group. Then how can you identify? By knowing the atomic number, the elements which is belongs to first group and a seventh group. So for example, if you see that sodium atomic number is 11, and if you write the electronic configuration of the sodium, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s1. This is a sodium electronic configuration. And the next one, chlorine atomic number 17, electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s2, 3p5. This is the chlorine electronic configuration. Sodium electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1, and the chlorine electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. Now if you see that sodium and chlorine valence shell, the electrons are present in the third shell. Sodium and chlorine, the electrons are present in the what? Third shell of the valence shell. Now sodium valence shell 1 electron present. Sodium valence shell 1 electron present, but before the valence shell of the sodium having 8 electrons. At the same time, chlorine valence shell 7 electrons are present. Now sodium is first group of element. It is having the metallic character, mean it ready to lose the electron. So as per that concept, sodium valence shell 1 electron is present, but before the valence shell 8 electrons are present. If sodium loses this valence electron, then it will be get the 8 electrons in the valence shell. So at that time, sodium is get the 8 electrons in the valence shell by losing 1 electron. Now for example, sodium, this 3s1, 1 electron if it is loses by the sodium, sodium is getting the configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, now 3s0 because there is no electron. Only 1 electron is there, the 1 electron is losing outside. Now, in the valence shell of the sodium, how many electrons? 8 electrons are present. Now, by losing 1 electron, sodium atom getting the charge is what? Plus. Next one, chlorine. Whatever the electron losing by the sodium, it is gaining by the chlorine. Because chlorine valence shell, how many electrons present? 7. When the chlorine valence shell 7 electron present, chlorine required 1 electron to get the octet configuration. So whatever the electron losing by the sodium, that electron taken by the chlorine. So 1 electron losing by the sodium, right? So that electron taken by the chlorine. Now what happened? So valence shell of the sodium will become 8 electrons. So 3s2, 3p5 will become 3s2, 3p6, and valence shell 7 electrons are there previously, now converted to 8 electron because chlorine is gaining 1 electron. Now when the chlorine gaining 1 electron, the charge is what now? Cl minus. Now here, sodium losing 1 electron converted to Na plus, and chlorine gaining 1 electron converted to Cl minus. What we discussed in the universe, according to what? In the universe, oppositely charged, between the two oppositely charged ions, always attractions are present. Due to the same fact, sodium is positive charge, chlorine is negative charge. Due to the two oppositely charges, the two ions will come close to each other and form a crystal structure is formed, and this is the formation of the sodium chloride. Also we can say formation of the ionic compound. So between the sodium to chlorine, what type of forces are present? Mean electrostatic forces are present. Electrostatic force of attraction. Due to that, the two oppositely charged ions are come close to each other, form a very closely packed arrangement because attractions are very more. So here this is for example ions negative ion, this is for example positive ion. Between these two attractions, if it is more, the two ions come close to each other very more, and we cannot break easily. We can say it is a very strong force of attractions are present. Due to the strong attraction, the sodium chloride is converting into a crystal form. It is available in the crystal solid form. So every ionic compound, maximum it is available in the crystal and solid form due to the strong attractions are present between the cation to anion. This is what when I am taking sodium and chlorine. So now same like other group of elements also. Same like other group of elements also, if you see here, sodium is a first group of element and losing one electron. It means first A, 1A group of elements, and next of all 2A group of elements, next 3rd A group of elements. First group of element, second group of element, third group of element. First group of element loses one electron, getting +1 charge. Second group of element losing 2 electron to get the octet configuration, so +2 charge. Third group of element getting octet configuration by losing 3 electrons. Same like if we see that, if we see the fifth group of element and sixth group of element and seventh group of element. Fifth group of element, to get the octet configuration in the valence shell, it can gain the 3 electron. Sixth group of element, it will be gain the 2 electron. Seventh group of elements gain the 1 electron. So why it is losing and gaining? To get the stable configuration. According to Kosala and Lewis, the elements which is having 8 electrons in their valence shell, they are stable. So before that, this does not having any 8 electrons. Only 18th group of element like neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, only these elements having 8 electrons in their valence shell, that only we are considering as a stable. But the remaining elements not stable. First group, second group, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, these elements are not at all stable. So to get the stable configuration, what it will be do? It is try to achieve the octet configuration. Because if it is achieve the octet configuration, they are stable. So to achieve the octet configuration, some elements are, some group of elements losing electron, some group of elements gaining electron. So in that part only, first, second, third group of element losing 1 electron, 2 electron, 3 electron respectively. Fifth, sixth, seventh group of elements gaining 3 electron, 2 electron, 1 electron respectively. So that's why these are the positive charge ions, these are the negative charge ions. Between the positive charges to negative charges, ionic bond formation takes place. So this is the formation of the ionic bond, right? So next one, for formation of ions, for formation of ionic bond, two substances are compulsory. One is cation, one is anion. So let us see that at what conditions cation formation is favorable, at what conditions anion formation is favorable. So let us see here factors favorable for formation of the cation. Factors favorable for formation of the formation of the cation, because to form the ionic bond, two ions is important. One is cation, other one is what? Anion. Then we have to know compulsory at what conditions cation favorable, at what conditions anion favorable. So let us discuss. So now the topic is factors favorable for the formation of the cation. What factors are favorable? Let us see. First one is, first factor is a large atomic size. First factor is what? Large atomic size. So atomic size, if it is large, for example, I am taking two atoms, I am taking first atom and second atom, because atoms are assumed to be as a spherical shape. So I am taking first atom and second atom. First one is small, second one is large, and every atom having nucleus at the center. So now first atom having nucleus, second atom having nucleus. This is the valence shell electron cloud of the two atoms. Now here, this is the electron, this is a positive charge. It is electron, it is a positive charge. Electron nothing but negative species. Here nucleus having the positive charge. Always positive to negative attractions are present. Due to that, this nucleus is attracting these electrons towards itself. When the distance is more, the attraction capacity decreases. When the distance between the nucleus and valence electron is less, the attraction capacity is very more. So here nucleus to last electron, the distance is less because size is less. So due to the distance is less, here attractions are more. Attractions between what? Nucleus and last electron. Here what? Distance is more. When the distance is increases, attraction capacity also what happen? Decreases. So now here attraction capacity decreases. Once the attraction capacity decreases, we can remove electron easily. We can remove electron easily. We are removing electron easily, nothing but cation formation is easy when large atomic size is present. When large atomic size is present. So once again, atomic size if it is large, attraction between the nucleus to last electron is less. Attractions if it is less, we can remove the electron easily. For example, a magnet is attracting the iron nail very strongly and a other magnet attracting the iron nail very weak. So now which one we can remove easily? Mean we have to select second one, because attractions are very weak. At that time we can remove the iron nail easily. So same here also, this is electron, it is the nucleus. Attractions are very more. Here attraction is what? Very less. When attraction is less, we can remove electron easily. Easily electron removing nothing but easily cation forming. So one of the favorable condition for the formation of the cation is large atomic size. And the second one is large atomic size. Next one is a small ionization energy or less ionization energy. Less ionization energy. Ionization energy mean what? The amount of energy required to remove the electron from the valency shell of the gaseous species atom is called ionization energy. So gaseous species atom size if it is more, we can remove electron easily because attractions are less. So to remove the electron, we are applying some amount of energy. When the attraction is less, we can apply less amount of energy. At that time, we can remove electron easily. Ionization energy means the amount of energy you are applying to remove the electron. So when the size is more, we have to apply the energy less. When the size is less, we have to apply the energy more to remove the electron. So less ionization energy. Ionization energy less nothing but that is size is large. At that time we can remove the electron easily. So what is the factors here? Large atomic size, less ionization energy and a small charge on the cation. Next one is what? Small charge on the cation. For example, sodium plus magnesium plus 2, aluminium plus 3. So totally 3 ions is present. Na plus, Mg plus 2, Al plus 3. So which is formation easy? Mean Na plus formation easy, because we are removing only 1 electron from here. But magnesium 2 electron removing. For removal of 2 electron, you have to apply more amount of energy, take them more time. Al plus 3. From the aluminium, 3 electrons we are removing. 1 electron removal is some hard, but again we are removing how many electron? 3 electron removing. So it is required very more amount of energy and a large process and a long process. So that's why ion charge should be less. If the charge is less, it is forming easy. Charge is more, it not forming easy, because for removal of the 3 electron takes extra time, take more time. So easily Na plus is possible. So it means small charge is favorable. So next one is inert gas configuration. Next one is inert gas configuration. So the ions what is forming, the ions should be inert gas configuration. So mean some of the ions having pseudo inert gas configuration like D block of elements. Copper plus, zinc plus 2, they are having 18 electrons in their valence shell. So the element which is having 18 electrons in their valence shell, such a configuration we call pseudo inert gas configuration. Now here, this is what inert gas configuration, because sodium plus Cl minus, K plus, Mg plus 2, these are everything having 8 electrons in their valence shell. But D block of elements when you take, it is having 18 electrons in their valence shell. It is also cation, they are also cation. For example, I am taking Na plus and I am taking zinc plus 2. Na plus valence shell 8 electrons are present, zinc plus 2 valence shell 18 electrons are present. We can say this is inert gas configuration, it is pseudo inert gas configuration. At that condition, both are cations only. Which cation is formation easy, which cation is favorable for the formation of ionic bond mean inert gas configuration containing ions is favorable for the formation of ionic bond. So that's why inert gas configuration is compulsory. So this is the factors favorable for the cation formation. What is the factors favorable for the cation formation here? One is large atomic size, another one is less ionization energy, third one is small charge, and the fourth one is inert gas configuration. So this is the factors favorable for the formation of the cation. So next one, factors favorable for the formation of the anion. This is factors favorable for the formation of the cation, and here factors favorable for the formation of the anion. So what is the factors favorable for formation of the anion? First one is small atomic size. First one is small atomic size. Anion nothing but what? When anion is forming, when any one of the element it is accept the electron, it is converted to anion. Means anion nothing but the species which ready to accept the electron. So when it will be accept the electron? When the size is small. When the size is small, nucleus attraction capacity is more. At that time, that particular nucleus attracting the electron very strongly. So small atomic size is favorable for the formation of anion. At the same time, high electronegativity. High electronegativity. At the same time, low charge. These are the favorable condition for the formation of the anion. Low charge for the cation, low charge for the anion, same factors. Because charge is increases, the stability decreases. Here, for example, I am taking fluoride and O minus 2 and N minus 3, which is easily forming nothing but F minus easily forming. What is the mean of F here? F minus, how it is forming? By accepting one electron, or we are adding one electron. So when you are adding one electron, F minus is forming. On the oxygen 2 electrons extra, on the nitrogen 3 electrons extra. So here F minus is forming easily compared to O minus 2 and N minus 3 due to the repulsion takes place between the electrons. Here only one extra electron, there is no repulsion or less repulsion, but here 3 electrons are present, electron to electron repulsions are takes place. So due to that reason, F minus is easily forming compared to O minus 2 and N minus 3. So once again check here, what is the factors favorable for the cation formation and anion formation. Cation formation, large atomic size, and the anion formation, small atomic size. Next, cation formation, less ionization energy. Anion formation, high electronegativity. And cation formation, small charge. Anion formation, same small charge or low charge. And this is inert gas configuration, and anions also inert gas configuration. So this is the factors favorable for formation of the cation and formation of the anion. So let us see, with these factors, some of the examples will be discussed. Which are the following compounds is easily forming ionic compound? So which are the following is easily formation takes place? For example, I am taking sodium chloride, potassium chloride, rubidium chloride, and cesium chloride is the first one. And the second one is the first one. Second one is sodium fluoride and sodium chloride and the sodium bromide, and the next one is sodium iodide, and the next one, third one. So third one is sodium fluoride and cesium fluoride. Next one is magnesium oxide and calcium oxide. So which are the following is easily formation takes place? Everything is ionic compound only, because one is metal, one is non-metal. So now here sodium and chlorine. So we discussed that what is the favorable condition? Cation size should be large. Cation size is what? Large. And anion size is small. We discussed that cation size is large and anion size is what? Small. Let us see. Here what? Anions. Anion nothing but what? Chlorine. So chlorine is behaving as a anion. So anion is common. So at that time, with respect to cation, you have to decide which is easily formed. So it is what? Sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, top to bottom in the group. So sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, top to bottom sizes increases. So cesium size is more. Means here cation is cesium, cesium size is more. So cation size should be large for formation easily or formation favorable. So cesium chloride is easily formed compared to potassium chloride. Same next one, here sodium is common, it means metal is common. Then we go with respect to non-metal. What is the non-metal? Means anion, fluoride, chloride, bromide and iodide. Let us see. Anion size is what? Small. Favorable condition, anion size should be small. So what is the small? Fluoride, chloride, bromide, iodide, top to bottom. Top to bottom size increases, it means fluoride atom or fluoride ion size is small. So anion size small, nothing but it is a favorable for the ionic bond formation. Next one is what? Sodium fluoride, cesium fluoride, magnesium oxide, calcium oxide. So let us see. Charge we have to see, because sodium charge is what? +1, cesium charge +1, magnesium +2, calcium +2. So which is favorable condition for formation of the cation? Low charge. Low charge. So it means in these two answer will be. So again, one is what? Sodium, other one is what? Cesium, because fluorine is common. So charge with respect to charge, we decided either sodium fluoride, either cesium fluoride. Next one is what? So again you have to confirm with respect to size. So one is sodium, one is cesium. Which size is more? Cesium size is more. So cesium size more nothing but easily what is takes place? Cesium fluoride is easily takes place. So this is the what formation of the ionic compound easily. So with respect to following factors. So this is what factors favorable for the formation of the cation and formation of the anion. And one more important thing, the two ions which is participating in the ionic bond formation, the two ions electronegativity difference must be greater than 1.7. At the time only it will be participating in the ionic bond formation. Every cation, every anion not participating in ionic bond formation, not forming ionic bond formation. Only the cation and anion electronegativity difference which is having greater than 1.7, that is only involving in the ionic bond formation. So that is very important fact. Once again, every cation and anion does not forming the ionic bond. The cation and anion which is having electronegativity difference is greater than more than 1.7, that ions only involving in the ionic bond formation. So this is about what? Formation of the ionic bond and factors formation for the cation and factors favorable for the anion. So after that, next one is the Fajans rule. So till now we discussed that ionic bond formation. Till now we discussed. So what we discussed here, ionic bond formed between the two oppositely charged ions. One should be cation, one is anion, and the electronegativity difference is more than 1.7. At that condition only ionic bond is formed. So now we discussed that chemical bond is three types. One is covalent bond, one is ionic bond, one is coordinate covalent bond. But here when you come to the ionic bond, no ionic compound 100% ionic in nature. Means no ionic compound, whatever the ionic compound you take, either sodium chloride, cesium chloride, potassium chloride, rubidium chloride, magnesium chloride, whatever the ionic compound we can take, it is not a 100% ionic nature. It is having some amount of covalent nature also. Very important point here. Fajans rule. What Fajans rule explain? According to Fajans rule, no ionic compound is 100% ionic. No ionic compound is 100% ionic. Some amount of covalent character is present. Means sodium chloride having some amount of covalent character, maybe magnesium chloride, maybe cesium chloride, maybe rubidium chloride, and calcium chloride, whatever the ionic compound you can take, it is having some amount of covalent character. Either maybe it is having some more covalent character, either it is having some less covalent character. So let us see how the ionic compounds having covalent character. So let us see. So now for example I am taking a small size cation, a large size anion. Small size cation, large size anion. Cation size is small, anion size is large in this particular case. So when small sized cation and a large sized anion when come close to each other or when present nearby each other, because of the small size of the cation, attraction capacity is more, and the anion is large size. Anion large size nothing but this is the electron cloud of the anion. It is the electron cloud of the anion, and this is a cation and their nucleus. Now between these two, attractions are very more developed, because cation size is what? Very small. Size small nothing but attraction capacity very more. So due to that reason, this cation is attracting the anion electron towards itself. At that time, whatever the spherical shaped atom is there, the shape of the spherical shaped anion is distorted, because this cation is attracting the electron towards itself. So the resulting shape, how it is possible? This is the cation size or cation shape is same here, but when you come to the anion shape is distorted. This is the distorted shape of the anion. It means the electron cloud of the anion is come towards the cation side, because cation is attracting the electrons of the anion. Cation is attracting the electrons of the anion. It's pull the electrons of the anion towards itself. At the time, the anion electrons are come towards the cation side slowly. So at the time, the shape is what happened? The spherical shape is distorted. The spherical shape is changes, and this is called as the distorted shape. So in this process, some electrons of the cation, some electrons of the anion sharing each other. So due to that reason, ionic compounds also having some amount of covalent nature. Due to this reason, ionic compounds having what? Some amount of covalent nature. So now here, these two characters we can explain with the help of two definitions. One is polarizing power. One is polarizing power, other one is polarizing ability or polarizability. One is polarizing power, another one is what? Polarizing ability. So what is the polarizing power? So polarizing power nothing but here capacity of the cation to attract the or to polarize the nearby anion. The capacity of the cation to polarize the nearby anion is called polarizing power. Then what is the polarizability? The ability of the anion get attracted by the cation. The ability or the capacity of the anion get attracted by the cation is called polarizability. So two definitions, one is polarizing power, another one is what? Polarizability. So polarizing power nothing but related to cation, polarizability nothing but related to anion. So let us see here polarizing power and polarizability. So now here polarizing power generally is directly proportional to charge. Polarizing power directly proportional to charge of the cation and indirectly proportional to size of the cation. Polarizing power directly proportional to charge of the cation, indirectly proportional to size of the cation, and polarizability related to anion. Polarizability directly proportional to size and charge of the anion. Once again, polarizing power related to cation, polarizability related to anion. Polarizing power directly proportional to charge of the cation and indirectly proportional to size of the cation. Next, polarizability directly proportional to size of the anion, at the same time charge of the anion also. So this is what polarizing power and polarizability. Due to these points, we can understand that the covalent compound, the ionic compound is having covalent character or not, or which is having more, which is having less. So let us see here, these 2 points you have to remember. Polarizing power directly proportional to charge of the cation, size of the, indirectly proportional to size of the cation. Polarizability directly proportional to size and charge of the anion. So very more simply, if you want to very more simple understanding, here let us see size of the cation. Size of cation directly proportional to or indirectly proportional to covalent character. Size of cation indirectly proportional to covalent character. Next, charge of cation directly proportional to covalent character. Next one, size of anion directly proportional to covalent character. Next one, charge of anion directly proportional to covalent character. So these 4 points is very, very important. Size of cation, charge of cation, size of anion, charge of anion. So let us see from this. For example, I am taking some examples. I am taking some ionic compounds I am taking. So one is lithium chloride and sodium chloride, potassium chloride, rubidium chloride and cesium chloride. Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium chlorides. So these I am taking. Let us see which are the following compounds. Which are the following compounds having more covalent character? Which are the following compounds having more covalent character? Then how can you decide? Chlorine is common. With respect to anion, we cannot say because anion is common. Now remaining is what? Cation. With respect to cation, we can say that. So now these cations also belongs to same group. Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. Then top to bottom size what happening? Increases. Let us see size of the cation. Size of the cation. Lithium plus, sodium plus, potassium plus, rubidium plus, cesium plus. Size of the cation. With respect to size of the cation, size of the cation is more, covalent character is less. Size of the cation is more, covalent character is less. Size of the cation less nothing but then covalent character is more. Once again, size of the cation is indirectly proportional to covalent character. Size of the cation less nothing but covalent character more. Size of the cation more nothing but covalent character less. Which of the following having more covalent character? More covalent character nothing but size of the cation should be less. Size of the cation less nothing but covalent character more. So which of the cation size is less? Lithium. Then here more covalent character, next Na, next potassium, next rubidium, next cesium. This is the covalent character order in the ionic compounds. This is the one of the example. And the second one is lithium chloride. Second example is lithium chloride or beryllium chloride. Lithium chloride complete, right? So next one is beryllium chloride. Next one is magnesium chloride. Next calcium chloride. Next strontium chloride. Next barium chloride. So which of the following compounds having more covalent character? Which of the following compounds having more covalent character? Let us see. Covalent character here. Anion is common. With respect to anion, we cannot explain. Then remaining is what? Cation. With respect to cation, you have to see. Beryllium, charge 2. Magnesium, charge 2. Calcium, charge 2. Strontium, charge 2. Barium, charge 2. Because everything is second group of elements. Charge is same. With respect to charge, we cannot explain. Then remaining is what? Size. So size of the cation indirectly proportional to covalent character. Size of the cation is less nothing but covalent character is more. So which of the following is covalent character more? It means we have to understand size of the cation which is less. Beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. Beryllium size is less. Beryllium size less nothing but covalent character is more. This is the covalent character order. Then for this opposite is ionic character. Which of the following is more ionic character? Cesium chloride. Which of the following is more ionic character? Barium chloride. So this is the two examples. And the next one is sodium fluoride, sodium chloride, sodium bromide and sodium iodide. Which of the following is more covalent character? Now cation is same, anion is different. Here also sodium, cation is same. Next, anion is different. What is that anion? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. With respect to anion, we have to explain. So come to the anion. Size of the anion directly proportional to covalent character. Which anion size is more? Their covalent character is more. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine size is more. It means covalent character is more because size of anion directly proportional to covalent character. So which is having more covalent character? Sodium iodide is having more covalent character, right? So this is with respect to size. And one more example here. For example, I am taking tin chloride and tin tetrachloride, tin dichloride and tin tetrachloride. Which of the following is more ionic character or which of the following is more covalent character? So let us see. Here chlorine. With respect to chlorine, we cannot explain because same. Next, here tin, there also tin, but charges are different. See here 2 chlorine is nothing but tin charge is plus 2, 4 chlorine nothing but tin charge is plus 4. Now here what? Cation charge, one is plus 2, one is plus 4. Let us see the cation charge. Charge of the cation directly proportional to covalent character. Charge of the cation more nothing but covalent character is more. So here tin plus 2, here tin plus 4, where the cation charge is more? Tin plus 4. So mean SnCl4 having the more covalent character compared to SnCl2. So this is with respect to Fagen's rule. We can say which is having more covalent character, which is having less covalent character. So we can understand one thing from here. No ionic compound 100% ionic. Some amount of what is present? Covalent character is present. Even though sodium chloride, sodium fluoride, cesium chloride, everything is having some amount of covalent character. So the covalent character in the ionic compound we can explain with the help of Fagen's rule. So this is the, according to Fagen's rule, we can explain the covalent character in the ionic compounds, right? Once you take the screenshot. And the next character is lattice enthalpy. Next character is lattice enthalpy. From such these type of questions, we have the more chance to ask in the EAMCET and NEET and IIT purpose, because these are application type of questions. The student who is watching the video, better to revise once these and more concentrate on these topics: ionic compound nature, covalent character nature. And the next one coming topics is lattice enthalpy and solubility, very important. Lattice enthalpy, hydration enthalpy, solubility. So surely one question will cover from here. So the students who is watching this particular class, we have to more focus when you are preparing on lattice energy, hydration energy and solubility. Clear? So next concept is lattice energy. Next concept is lattice energy. So what is lattice energy? Lattice energy in nothing but, for example, I am taking a sodium chloride, a crystal I am taking. Lattice energy we can define in the two ways we can define. For example, I am taking sodium chloride, a crystal. For example, I am taking sodium chloride, a crystal. So maybe for example, this is the sodium and we can take this is the chlorine. Now sodium to chlorine, some force of attractions are present, we discussed already. This is the force of attraction, right? So now I want to break this sodium chloride. I want to break the sodium chloride. Then how to break? You have to apply some amount of energy. If you want to break anything, even though if you want to break this charge, you have to apply some amount of energy. Same sodium chloride also, I want to break. I have to apply some amount of energy. So when I break, the sodium chloride converted to what? Na plus and Cl minus. The respective ions it is converted. So now lattice energy means the amount of energy required, to break the 1 mole of ionic compound and converting into its particular ions or its respective ions is called lattice energy. Once again, the amount of energy required to break the ionic compound and convert it to their respective ions is called as a lattice energy. And other definition, when the sodium and chlorine, sodium is positive charge, chlorine is negative charge. Due to the oppositely charged ions, these two particles are come close to each other, and when these two particles are come close to each other, forming a crystal lattice is forming. In this formation, some amount of energy releasing outside. In this formation, some amount of energy releasing outside. So it means the amount of energy releases. The amount of energy releases when 1 mole of ionic compound is forming from their constituent ions is also called lattice energy. Once again, the definition, the amount of energy releases when 1 mole of ionic compound is forming from their constituent ions is called lattice energy. So for breaking of ionic compound also we call lattice energy. For making of ionic compound also called lattice energy. But for breaking amount of energy you are applying, for making amount of energy releasing. So this is what you call lattice energy. So now lattice energy here generally directly proportional to charge of the cation or charge of the anion. So lattice energy directly proportional to charge of the cation or charge of the anion, and indirectly proportional to radius of the cation and radius of the anion. So simply we can say that here lattice energy directly proportional to charge and indirectly proportional to size, we can say that. Very more simply we can say that lattice energy directly proportional to charge and indirectly proportional to size, we can see that. So this is about what? Lattice energy. So now which of the following compounds having more lattice energy, which of the following compounds having less lattice energy? Let us see here. So for example, lattice energy, lithium fluoride and sodium fluoride and potassium fluoride. This is one of the example, and the second one is sodium fluoride and magnesium oxide and aluminum nitride. So this is the second one. So which of the following having more lattice energy? Let us see. First example, fluorine anion is common. So next one is what? Lithium and sodium and potassium. Lithium first group, sodium first group, potassium also first group. It means charges also same. So when charges is same, then you have to depend on the what? Size. Lattice energy indirectly proportional to size. So size less nothing but lattice energy is what? More. So lithium, sodium, potassium, where the size is less, lithium fluoride is size is less. It means lattice energy is more for the lithium fluoride. Mean amount of energy is required very more to break the lithium fluoride, because lithium small size, fluorine small size. Due to the two small size ions are come close to each other and will be form a strong bond. At that time the bond if you want to break required more amount of energy. So lithium fluoride having more lattice energy. Next come to the here. Sodium, magnesium, aluminum different elements, fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen also different elements. So now what? Based on what fact you have to see here. For example, if I am taking sodium is plus charge, magnesium plus 2 charge, aluminum plus 3 charge with respect to charge. Let us see, lattice energy directly proportional to charge. So where the charge is more, aluminum charge is more. It means lattice energy of the aluminum nitride is more. So this is about what? Lattice energy. And the lattice energy directly proportional to stability. Lattice energy directly proportional to stability. Otherwise you can say that lattice energy directly proportional to thermal stability. Lattice energy directly proportional to thermal stability. Lattice energy more nothing but the compound is strong. The compound is strong nothing but stability will be more. So finally lattice energy directly proportional to thermal stability. Right? So this is about the lattice energy. And the next one is hydration energy. And the next one is hydration energy. After that, the next concept is hydration energy. Lattice energy, hydration energy questions are very important. So lattice energy, hydration energy, which of the following compounds having more lattice energy? Which of the following compounds having more hydration energy? Which one is more soluble? Which is less soluble? Such type of question they can ask very, very more. So now here hydration energy. Then what is the meaning of hydration energy? Hydration energy. For example, I am taking water. For example, I am taking water. In this water, I am adding the sodium chloride, otherwise a ionic compound. In this water, what I am adding? Sodium chloride I am adding. So now this sodium chloride is split into what? In the presence of water, the sodium chloride is split into Na plus and Cl minus. Now this Na plus and Cl minus present in where? Water. So now around the Na plus, water molecule will be surround. Around the Cl minus also, water molecule will be surround. Because water is having dipole nature, meaning it is having positive nature, at the same time it is having the negative character. For example, if you see, this is a water molecular structure. Oxygen more electronegative, so partially negative. Hydrogen partially positive will be get. So on the water molecule, positive charge is present, negative charge is present. So sodium having positive charge, so now the water molecule is surrounded by the sodium. Cl having negative charge, here also water molecule is surrounded by the Cl minus. Now let us see that here this is the water molecules are surrounding. When the water molecule is surrounding around the positive charged species, the oxygen should be nearby the positive charge species because oxygen is having what? Negative charge. So partially negative, partially here positive. This both will be attract. This is positive charge. Oxygens are what? Negative charge. So attraction is present. Next, what is here? Cl minus. Now when the Cl minus or any anion, so around the anion, hydrogens will be attracted because hydrogens having positive charge, Cl having negative charge, oppositely charges. Now here hydrogen, this is hydrogen, this is also hydrogen. Now here what happened? Around the Na plus water molecule surrounded, around the Cl minus also water molecule surrounded when you drop into the water. And after when the water molecule surrounded, in this process, some amount of energy releases outside. Some amount of energy releases outside. So the amount of energy releases outside when water molecules are surrounding a ion is called hydration energy. Once again, the amount of energy releases when water molecules are surrounding a ion is called hydration energy. So this is what hydration energy. Generally, hydration energy is indirectly proportional to size because size of the ion is less nothing but that attraction capacity is more. So at that time more water molecule will be attracted. And this is about what? Hydration energy. Once again, hydration energy, the amount of energy releases when water molecules are surrounding a ion is called as a hydration energy. So generally, hydration energy is directly proportional to solubility. Hydration energy is directly proportional to solubility. And hydration energy is more, nothing but solubility of the particular substance in the water is more. So now let us discuss here hydration energy and lattice energy relation is here. That is lattice energy indirectly proportional to hydration energy. That is what? Lattice energy indirectly proportional to hydration energy. So some of the compounds, when the hydration energy is more than the lattice energy, the particular compound is soluble in water. If the lattice energy is more than the hydration energy, the particular compound is insoluble in nature. So this is very, very important. Which are the following compound is soluble in the water? Mean they will give hydration energy values and lattice energy values. We have to identify which value is more, depend on that you can decide. Hydration energy, if it is more, the particular compound is soluble. Lattice energy is more, the particular compound is what? Insoluble. So this is the hydration energy, lattice energy relation. Lattice energy, hydration energy is indirectly proportional. So lattice energy more, nothing but hydration energy less. Hydration energy less nothing but lattice energy is what? More. So this is the general basic relation between the lattice energy and hydration energy. Next concept is, so after this, the next concept is solubility. Next and very interesting concept is solubility. From the solubility, we have the chances to get the one question, because solubility is very, very, very important. Solubility. And the next one is solubility. Next one is what? Solubility. So given compound is more soluble or less soluble in water, or in polar solvents, or in non-polar solvent, will be discussed. So generally, in the last class we discussed that covalent compounds. Covalent compounds having non-polar nature. Non-polar compounds is soluble in non-polar solvents, and the polar compound soluble in polar solvents. So that's why we get the one definition like dissolve in like, means non-polar compound dissolve in non-polar solvents. Polar compound dissolve in polar solvents. So now let's discuss the solubility. This solubility in the presence of polar solvents, in the presence of non-polar solvents will be discussed. So now we discussed that here hydration energy indirectly proportional to lattice energy. Hydration energy indirectly proportional to lattice energy we discuss. Lattice energy indirectly proportional to hydration energy. And hydration energy directly proportional to solubility. It means lattice energy indirectly proportional to what? Solubility will come. Lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. So we can understand from here what? Lattice energy is indirectly proportional to solubility. But here we can see, depend on the some ions what we are taking, depend on the elements belongs to what group and what is the size of the elements, depend on that the formula will be changes. So now here lattice energy and solubility relation we can explain with the help of three factors. With the help of three factors we can explain. And the first one, lattice energy and solubility. First factor I am going to explain, lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. Very, very important. Lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. But generally we discuss that lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility we discussed. But some particular cases lattice energy is directly proportional to solubility. Very, very, very important. Lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. At what conditions lattice energy directly proportional to solubility? Let us see here. So D block of metals, the metals which is belongs to D block, or the elements which is belongs to D block. So generally what here? Copper, silver, next of all what? Iron, and next of all what? Zinc, like copper, silver and iron. That is a what? D block of elements. Next one is belongs to P block of elements. Next one is what? Belongs to P block of elements, like lead, and next of all what? Tin, like here. So D block, P block of elements here. This is what? Next one is mercury. Next one is what? Mercury. Next is what here? Mercury. Right. So this is what? Some elements. The element which is belongs to D block, like copper, silver and iron, mercury, and next of all what? Which belongs to P block, like lead, and then one more is what? Tin. So in the presence of these ions, lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. In the presence of these ions, lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. Very, very important. The elements which is belongs to D block and which is belongs to P block here, some particular elements, copper, silver, iron and mercury. And the next one is lead and tin. In the presence of these elements, the lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. So for example, if I am taking silver fluoride, and the next one silver chloride, next one is silver bromide, next one is silver iodide. So silver is present, belongs to, it is the D block of elements. In this particular cases, lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. So now lattice energy, how can you decide? We know that lattice energy directly proportional to charge and indirectly proportional to size. Lattice energy directly proportional to charge, indirectly proportional to size. So now let us see here, charge and size. Charge nothing but everything is silver and everything is seventh group of elements. So charge we cannot explain because charges is same. Next one is size. With respect to size we can go. So one is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Top to bottom size increases. And the lattice energy indirectly proportional to size. Size less nothing but lattice energy is more. So which is size is less? Silver fluoride. So here fluoride size is less. Size less nothing but lattice energy is more. Now in this particular case is lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. It means where the lattice energy is more, their solubility is what? More. So silver fluoride solubility is more. Clear? Same like if you take the lead fluoride, lead chloride, lead bromide, lead iodide also, solubility directly proportional to lattice energy. This is one of the case. And second case, this is very important. First case is completed and the next case is second case. So second case is lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. Second case is what? Lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. First case is lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. Second case is lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. So when lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility, let us see here. So when small size ions is present, when small size ion, otherwise a common ion is, if it is having small size, common ion, if a common ion, if it is having small size, a common ion if it is having small size. What is the meaning of common ion? If you take any one of the series, in that any one of the ion is common. Like here what? Silver, here common ion. So same like that, whatever the complexes we are taking, whatever the compounds we are taking, in that compound, if the ion, which ion is common and the ion size if it is small, at that time the lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. Then small ions means what you have to take? Small ions means oxide we can take, fluoride we can take, next one is what? Hydroxide we can take, next one is lithium, and the next one is sodium we can take, next one is fluorine, next one is fluorine we can take. Okay, so next carbonate, next one is bicarbonate. Generally carbonate and bicarbonate is large ions, but it is behaving as a small ions in the presence of first A group of elements. Okay, if it is presence with first A group of elements, in the presence of first A group of elements, these carbonate, bicarbonate actually is a size, large size ions, but even though this is a large size compared to first A group of elements having small. So means when in the presence of, with respect to, in the presence of first A group of element, these carbonate, bicarbonate behaving as a small size ions. So this is what in this particular case is lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. Once again, lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility when it is applicable, this condition, when common ion if it is small size. Either the common ion may be oxide, may be fluoride, may be sodium, may be lithium, may be hydroxide, or may be carbonate, may be bicarbonate. And carbonate, bicarbonate behaving as a small ions when it is present with the first A group of elements. Right? And next one is what? All the second A group of ions. All the second A group of ions. Next one, all the second A group of ions. This is behaving as a small ions. So let us see in the presence of these ions. In the presence of these ions, how it is lattice energy and solubility. For example, I am taking here. For example, I am taking lithium oxide. Lithium oxide. Next one is sodium oxide. Next one is potassium oxide, next one is rubidium oxide, next one is cesium oxide. Let us see the order. So what is the common ion here? Oxide, 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 oxide. Oxide is what? Small ion. Oxide, small ion, nothing but lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. So lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. It means lattice energy directly proportional to charge and indirectly proportional to size. So let us see the lattice energy where is more, where is less. Now everything is charge is common because everything is first A group of element and everywhere ion is common, oxygen. And next with respect to size we have to see. Size is what? Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. So now top to bottom or left to right size increases. Lattice energy more when the size is small because indirectly proportional. Lattice energy is more when the size is small. Then where the lattice energy is more? Lithium oxide, lattice energy is more. So this is the lattice energy order. This is lattice energy order. But we know that when the common ion is small, lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. Then lattice energy is more, nothing but solubility less. Cesium oxide solubility, lattice energy less, nothing but solubility more. So now here lithium oxide, next one is sodium oxide, next one is potassium oxide, rubidium oxide and cesium oxide. This is the solubility order. It is the solubility order. So when it is applicable, when a common ion is small. So this is the lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility and lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. Clear? So next one is third factor, solubility directly proportional to hydration energy. Third factor is solubility directly proportional to hydration energy. Third factor, solubility directly proportional to third factor. This is the last factor, solubility directly proportional to hydration energy. Third factor is what? Solubility directly proportional to hydration energy. So what is this? When, at what conditions solubility directly proportional to hydration energy? Before we discuss it, lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility when small ions is present as a common ion. Now, in this particular case, solubility directly proportional to hydration energy when common ion is large. When common ion is large, at that time solubility directly proportional to hydration energy, right? So let us see, common ion is large, nothing but which ions is coming as a large? Potassium, rubidium, cesium, chlorine, bromine and iodine. Next one is nitrate. Next one is what? Carbonate and bicarbonate. Carbonate and bicarbonate behaving as a small ions when first a group of elements present, with respect to other elements behaving as a large. Next one is what? Sulfate. Next one is carbonate. Carbonate already came, right? So this is this is what? Or sulfate, otherwise nitrate, and next of all what? Any other chlorate. Okay, so this is we can take as a large ions or large ions. So when common ion is large, in that case solubility directly proportional to what? Hydration energy. So let us see for here example. Example what I am taking here. So common ion is large. For example, I am taking potassium chloride, otherwise I am taking one more example, potassium sulfate. Potassium sulfate I am taking, otherwise sodium sulfate I am taking. Lithium sulfate. Next one is sodium sulfate. Next one is potassium sulfate. Lithium sulfate, sodium sulfate, potassium sulfate. Next one is rubidium sulfate. This is. So now let us see here. Sulfate is the what? Large anion. Sulfate is the large anion. So now if you see that here solubility directly proportional to hydration energy, but we know hydration energy indirectly proportional to lattice energy. Clear? So now let us see here. Lithium sulfate. Lithium is a small size, sodium large size, potassium large size, rubidium is a large size. Lattice energy indirectly proportional to size. Size less nothing but lattice energy more. So here lattice energy is more for what? Lithium sulfate, sodium sulfate, potassium sulfate and rubidium sulfate. Clear? So this is what? Sulfate ion is large. Sulfate ion is large here. Here sulfate ion, here sulfate, here sulfate, here sulfate. So sulfate ion is large, nothing but solubility directly proportional to what here? Hydration energy. So one is lithium sulfate, sodium sulfate, potassium sulfate and rubidium sulfate and cesium sulfate. If you see here, lithium sulfate is more is having. Solubility of the lithium sulfate is more, right? So this is what solubility of the different substances. And last we'll be see some examples of the different substances here. For example, I am taking oxides. Very, very important here. For example, I am taking oxides, beryllium oxide, magnesium oxide, calcium oxide, strontium oxide, barium oxide. Solubility order of the oxides. And the next one is hydroxides. After the oxides, next one is hydroxides. So hydroxide of the lithium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, rubidium hydroxide, cesium hydroxide. This is what? Hydroxides. And the next one is carbonates. Lithium carbonate, sodium carbonate. Next one is potassium carbonate, rubidium carbonate and cesium carbonate. This is what? Carbonates. So oxides completed, hydroxides and carbonates. Next one is bicarbonates. Lithium bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate, potassium bicarbonate and the rubidium bicarbonate, and you can take cesium bicarbonate also you can take. And the next one is nitrate or sulfates you can take. Next one is nitrates. Next I am taking the nitrates I am taking, that is lithium nitrate, next one is lithium nitrate, sodium nitrate, potassium nitrate, rubidium nitrate, at the same time cesium nitrate. So let us see. So these are the different types of compounds, and you have to identify the solubility order. Let us see, we can get a clear information related to solubility. We discussed that here oxide is we treat as a small ion. If the small ion is common ion if it is small, common ion if it is small, at that particular condition lattice energy indirectly proportional to what? Solubility. Okay, so once again, common ion if it is small, lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. Then lattice energy, where it is more? Here. Lattice energy beryllium oxide is more. So lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. So mean, what is the solubility more? Barium oxide solubility more. Clear? Why lattice energy more? Because lattice energy indirectly proportional to size. Beryllium size is small, then lattice energy more. When the common ion is small, lattice energy indirectly proportional to solubility. That is. Otherwise, you can say that when a common ion is small, solubility directly proportional to size. So directly we can take that. So hydroxide also small size. When hydroxide is small size common ion is present, solubility directly proportional to large size of the cation. Large size of the cation is what? Cesium. Note the point here. What is that? Common ion if it is small, then solubility directly proportional to size of the ion. Size of the ion is cesium more, so solubility more. Next one is what? Carbonate. Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, first a group of elements. Carbonates, bicarbonate behaving as a small ions when first a group of elements is present. So now these are the what? Carbonates are the small ions. When small common ion is present, at that time solubility directly proportional to size. Means cesium here more. So this is the solubility order. Next, bicarbonate. Same, bicarbonate also. Bicarbonate when first a group of elements is present behaving as a small ions. When common ion is small, then solubility directly proportional to size. So size is more, nothing but solubility more. Next, come to the nitrate, lithium nitrate. Nitrates is the what? Large ions. When nitrate is large ion, so large ions is present. Common ion if it is large, lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. Otherwise, size is small, nothing but solubility will be more. Once again, common ion if it is large size, at that time, solubility indirectly proportional to size. So now, size is what? Same, small, lithium. Then here, this is the solubility more. This is. So simply we can say that a large anion stabilized by the large cation. Cesium is the large cation, NO3, nitrate is a large anion. Large cation stabilized or large anion stabilized by the large cation. Once again, very important point here, large anion stabilized by the large cation. So this is large anion, large cation, it is very, very more stable. So more stable cesium nitrate, more stable nothing but lattice energy is more. Lattice energy more. Lattice energy more, nothing but solubility less. Then here solubility less, here solubility more. So what is large ions then? Nitrates, carbonates, next of all, bicarbonate second a group of elements, carbonate with second a group of elements other than first group. So next one is what? Phosphates, next one sulfates, next one what? Chlorates. So this everything is the large ions. When large anion is present, large anion stabilized by the large cation. Here carbonate or nitrate is the large anion. Large anion stabilized by the large cation cesium. So here large cation present, large anion present. So between the large cation, large anion stability more, then cesium nitrate is very more stable compound. Cesium nitrate is very more stable, nothing but this stable compound if you want to break you require more amount of energy, that means lattice energy is very, very more. So lattice energy more, nothing but solubility less, then this solubility is less and here the solubility is more. So this is about what? Completely solubility, lattice energy and hydration energy. So this is the very, very important points. So the discussion of the solubility is very, very important. Once again, common ion if it is small, lattice energy or common ion if it is small, solubility directly proportional to size. Common ion if it is small, solubility directly proportional to size. Common ion if it is large, solubility is indirectly proportional to size. That's Common ion if it is small, solubility directly proportional to size. Common ion if it is large, solubility indirectly proportional to size. At the same time, D block of element and P block of elements is present at the time also, lattice energy directly proportional to solubility. So these three factors you have to remember. Clear? So this is very, very important, and the next session will be discussed at other topic. So this is the today's session. Thank you.